Shalom Aleichem, sweetest friends. We are continuing our previous shir on the topic of mummer, of the apostate Jews, Rahman al-Litzlan. Is it possible to leave the Jewish religion? We saw that every Jew has the aspect of being a Yisrael, the Shem Yisrael, that he's called a Jew. And in addition, every Jew also has this element of B'nai Bris, of being in God's covenant, as we were marich in the previous shir. And it's actually mefurish in Tosas and Sanhedrin, Ayin Beis Beis, that it says that when somebody is roidef ach chaver lahargoi, you say to him, Rei Yisrael hu, Ben Bris hu. Look, he's a Yisrael, and he's a Ben Bris. Don't kill him. That's the Hasra. And the Torah says, Shafech dam adam yishafech. So what does this mean? He's a Yisrael and he's a Ben Bris. So we said, Yisrael and Ben Bris, these two aspects. And it's actually mefurish in Tosfos. Yisrael v'lo kusi. Yisrael excludes a Kuthian, a Goy. Ben Bris, what does Ben Bris exclude? V'lo mumer la'akum. And actually the correct girsa, before the censor changed it, was v'lo mishumid. A Ben Bris means somebody who's not an apostate. So that's the aspect of being a Ben Bris. That mumrim la'avodas koichovim, says Tosfos, Hayu moiridin v'loy ma'alin. So it's mefurish lahedia, like we said, that there are two aspects to every Jew. There's the Yisrael aspect, there's the Ben Bris aspect, and those who are mumrim are out of the Ben Bris element of being a Jew, and therefore any halacha which requires a Ben Bris would therefore exclude a mummer, whereas when you just need Shem Yisrael, the mummer is included because Yisrael shechat af pishi Yisrael, as we said in the previous shir. The Magen Avram and Siman Kuf Pei Tasiv Katan Aleph brings this Tosfos, and the Magen Avram feared ois. He concludes, according to this, that since shlichus requires ma'atem b'nei bris, like we spoke about in the previous shir from the Sugya and Gittin, Chov Gimel Amid Beis, if so, there is no shlichus for a mummer who's not a ben bris. That's the Chiddush of Magen Avram. Mummer can't be a shliach. In the Even HaOzer, which is a commentary in the Shulchan Aruch, he proves that there is shlichus for a mummer, because he explained the Sugya and Gittin beautifully. That it says two inyanim in Sugya and Gittin. Just like you're Jewish, so to your shliach should be Jewish. Just like you're b'nei bris, so to your shliach should be b'nei bris. So ma'atem afa. So the ma'atem, the atem, doesn't have to be the gamrei atem. It's enough to be a little bit like Atem. And since you, Yisrael, you're Yisrael, and you're also B'nai Bris, we have two aspects. Therefore, an Eved can be a Shliach, even though he's not a Yisrael, because he chaps on to the Atem, klape that he's a Ben Bris, right? An Eved, we said, is a Ben Bris. Mol chayiv b'mitzvahs, like we saw in the previous shir. So, that's the Eved. So the Eved is included in shlichus, even though he's not a Yisrael, because he's a Ben Bris. The mummer, Zok the Even Ozer, is included in the law of shlichus, because he's the Atem of Yisrael. In other words, a Ben Bris he's not, because a mummer has excluded himself from the covenant. However, he is a Yisrael, he does have a Shem Yisrael. Ayin Sham and Even Ozer, Marich, and the Rebbe Kiva Eger there, what he writes based on the Even Ozer, Dvarim Neflaim B'Sugya Sham Ayin Sham. And that's exactly what we've been saying, that there are two aspects, B'Mahusim Shel Yisrael. Mummer is mufka from one of them. From what aspect? From the aspect of being a Ben Bris, but a Yisrael, he remains. And that's the machlokes between the Magen Avram and the Even Ozer. If in such an instance, he's still considered atem or not. Is it enough to be just one aspect, meaning having a Shem Yisrael, or must be one, or is that not enough? The Even Ozer says it's enough. Just like an Eved has shlichus, even though he's not a Yisrael, because he's a Ben Bris, so too a Ovid Kocha, a mummer, is shaykh to shlichus, because even though he's not a Ben Bris, but he has a Shem Yisrael. And the Even Ozer there, he writes, Ayin Sham, that according to his opinion, mummer is considered a Ben Bris. Mummer, according to the Even HaOzer, is considered a ben bris. And Tosfos asks, what's the difference between ben bris and Yisrael? That was Tosfos' kasha, and Tosfos explained, Yisrael is excluding a kusi, and a ben bris is excluding a mummer. Das is the tzigang from Tosfos. That's where Tosfos goes. But from that kasha of what's the difference between a ben bris and a Yisrael, the Even HaOzer is rachmir not like Tosfos, that ben bris is coming to exclude a mummer. Because if so, all you would have to do is say ben bris, and then you would be excluding both. Ben bris would exclude both a kusi, both the non-Jew, and the mummer. So why do you have to say both Yisrael and ben bris? Just say ben bris. So look there in the Even HaOzer, we explained that it says Yisrael who is coming to add that he's not an Eved. Because like we saw in the Sugya in Gittin, an Eved is considered a ben bris, and he's not considered a Yisrael. So when he says Yisrael who, he says he's not an Eved. And if he's not an Eved, then that means that his Adon isn't Chayav Misa if he doesn't die within 24 hours. In other words, we know the halacha in the Torah that it says that if an Adon hits the Eved and he dies within a day, then the Adon is Chayav for murder. So by saying he's a Yisrael, he's telling the person, the Rodef, that if he were an Eved, then his Adon would not be Chayav Misa if he doesn't die within the day. But he's saying that he's a Yisrael, so you don't have that. You don't have that way out. But the Even HaOzer said that if he lasts more than a day, then it's not going to be murder. No, he's not an Eved. But so that's what Yisrael is coming to exclude, that he's not an Eved. But he does not, the Even HaOzer does not want to learn, like Tosfos, that it's excluding a mummer. Ayin Sham in the Even HaOzer. Because he holds that a mummer is considered a ben bris. And that ben bris is not coming to exclude mummer, and Yisrael is coming to exclude Eved. So see there what the Even HaOzer says, but it seems very dachuk. Because be'etzem, there is a chiyuv misa. There is a chiyuv misa. So what is he going and telling him? That he's not this person who has a p'tur of yom yomayim to his adon. Like that's like a weird thing to warn him. So the basis of the Even HaOzer is mahalach here, that he says that he's telling him that he's Yisrael, meaning he's not an Eved, and you know the p'tur of yom yomayim. What is he coming to? What is he coming to tell this guy for? And who says he's even his Adon? I mean, he's not an Eved, so he's not his Adon. Saying, what is he talking? What is he bringing this whole Eved and Adon thing in for? It seems to be like out of left field. So, really, what is Tosfos saying? Tosfos agrees that the Ikar Amira is coming to tell him how serious what he's doing is. Because the Even HaOzer wanted to say that it can't just be coming to exclude, it must be coming to tell him how serious his mice is. And therefore it says, yes, you have no way out over here. He's not an Eved, meaning that you don't have this p'tur, because you're trying to explain to him Chumras Ma'aseyu. According to Tosfos, you're not explaining Chumetz Maaseh. You're just excluding that he's a Yisrael and he's not a Kusi, and this person is a Ben Bris, and he's not a Mumar La'akum. So why are you just excluding who you're putter for? According to the Ibn Ozer, you're telling him the Chumrah of his Maisim. You're saying, here you don't have this P'tur of Yom HaYomayim, of him lasting in more than a day and then not being Chayav Misa. That's what Ibn Ozer wanted to say. But it seems like this Evet thing is coming a little bit out of left field. So it would seem that it's really not Kash at all, because Tosfos agrees that this Amir is to tell him how serious what he's doing is. And the Torah, it says in the Gemara, and the Torah says, Shofech dam adam badam dama yishafech, that the person's blood is spilled. And because besides the hasra that you give him to be mechayiv misa, we also tell him how serious what he's doing is in order that he should stop, because the Torah says that he's chayiv misa. It's very serious aveira. And on this we tell him two chumras. Number one, you know what the first chumra is? He's a Yisrael. And therefore you're chayiv misa for him. And number two, he's a Ben Bris. It's another reason you're chayiv misa for him. So there are two inyanim chamurim here. And therefore you tell him both. So when Tosfos says it's coming to be Mamayit, a Kusi, and Ben Bris is the Mayit Mumar, it's just to explain the Lashon of Rei Yisrael who Ben Brisu. So we see that this is to tell him that he's Chayav Misa. Because look, he's Yisrael and he's a Ben Bris. And Tosfos is saying, you're definitely Chayav Misa. You have no way out. He's not a Kusi and he's not a Mumar. But it's not just coming to exclude that he's not a Kusi and he's not a Mumar. That he wouldn't be Chayav if he was a Kusi or a Mumar. It's coming more than that. It's coming to tell you the Chomer HaMaiseh. That if you kill him, you're killing Yisrael and you're killing a Ben Bris. And Derech Agav, if he would be, it's coming to exclude that there would be a Chiyav Misa if he's a Kusi or a Mumar. But that's not the point of what he's saying. The primary point of what he's saying is that it's a very serious Aveira because he's Yisrael and he's a Ben Bris. And Derech Agav, this is Memayit, a Kusi and a Mumar. Al Kopanim, we see that a Mumar, like Tosfos says, is Memuat from Ben Bris because a Mumar is not concluded in the bris. A Mumar takes himself, an apostate takes himself out of the bris. There in the Ibn Ozer, he tries to prove, not like Tosfos, from the Sugya and Avodah Zarah, Daf Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. There's a machlokes, why an akum is pasul in Mila. In the name of Rav, it says there, that it says, Vatas Brisi Tishmor. Elchonon says, from Himol Yimol. What's the difference, what's the nafkamina, where you learn the psul of akum? An Aravim Mahul or a Givonim Mahul. You have an Arab who's Mahul, a Givoni, a Givonite who's Mahul. So according to the Mandamar of Himol Yimol, somebody who already has a bris milah should give a bris milah. So the Aravim Mahul and Givonim will have a bris milah. So if it's Stam a Goy, it passes the Goy because he doesn't have a bris milah. But if this Goy is Mahul, then he's kosher for milah. But according to the Mandamar as Brisi Tishmor, that you have to guard my bris, so that excludes even a Aravi Mahul or a Givoni Mahul, because they're not included in the bris, they're not included in the covenant. So that excludes even them, even if they have a circumcision. And the Gemara is Doicha, no. Even the Aravi Mahul and Givoni Mahul are still included in Himol Yimol. That's not an Afkamina. You would even exclude the Aravi Mahul and Givoni Mahul. Why? Because Kol HaGoyim Areilim, a Goy can't halachically have a bris milah. They're all considered Arel. And then the Gemara concludes the difference between them is an Isha, because she's commanded Mahal Yadami. So the Gemara says that the nafkamina is an Isha, because Isha is commanded Mahal Yadami. It's like she's a bris milah, but she's not included in the bris. Like the Gemara says that the man Omer Vatas Brisi Tishmor Leka, Isha Lav Basmili, in other words, she's not Mitsuva Ala Mila, but Himo Yimo, she is included. She would be kosher to give the bris milah because she's commanded Mehili Dami. because she's included in Klal Yisrael. So in Klal Yisrael, once you're included in Klal Yisrael, so that already is enough to make you as if you have the bris milah, whereas the bris, but she's not mitzvah and bris milah herself, so that would be the nafkamina. Now, that's the Gemara Ayin Sham and the Gemara. Now, according to the Man Diyamar, who's tole, the psul and himol yimol, right, that why are we pasling a goy? Because if himol yimol, so a mummer is definitely included in that. A mummer has a bris milah, so you can also give the bris milah. And if mummer is not a ben bris, like Tosas wants to say, that a mummer is not a ben bris, so according to Rav, he'd be puzzled, because Rav says that the makor is vatas brisi tishmor if he's not a ben bris. So he's out. So why didn't the Gemara say that the nafkamina between them is a mummer? Vatas brisi tishmor, a mummer can't do it. Himo yimol, a mummer can do it. So it's muchach from this that a mummer l'kulei alma is kosher because a mummer is included in the bris. That's what the Even Ozer wanted to prove against Tosfos. However, this is a big wonder that l'chora the Even Ozer was ma'arbev two things here. He mixed up two things that aren't shaykh. When we say that a mummer is not I'm not laughing at the Even Ozer, but to make the point, clarify the point, to sharpen the point, the Even Ozer was a posek gadol me'od. So when we say that he's not a ben bris, we're talking about the bris of Torah and mitzvahs. There was a special bris at Sinai and in Arvis Moab, and since the mummer was mafkia himself, he's not a bris. But Mila, you have to have a bris Mila, anybody who's included in Ata as Brisi Tishmor, anybody who's commanded to have a bris Mila. And that's the bris on the Mila. That's a separate bris between God and the Jewish people. And that's what we see in Rashi and Gidna, we quoted in the previous shir, that Avadim are included in the bris and in mitzvahs, because Mila and mitzvahs. That's what it means. They're two separate things. And so too in Rashi, Brachas Daf Tesayin Amid Beis, the Tefillah of Rav, Shtatzlenu mi Baldin Kasha, Ben Shu Ben Bris, Ben Sheno Ben Bris. Rashi says, Sheno Ben Bris, She'eno Mol. Because there's a special bris of Mila between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why Rashi didn't write the bris of Torah and mitzvahs as well? They're two separate brisos. That's a good question. But at the end of the day, there's a bris of Mila, and then there's a bris of Torah and mitzvahs. So anybody who has a bris Mila is included in the Vatas Brisi Tishmar. You can't leave that bris. So a mummer is included in that bris. It's weird that the Even Ozer said, no, if Tosas is right that he's not included in the bris, then the Gemara should have said Nafka Mina for a mummer. He's not in Vatas Brisi Tishmar. The answer is, of course the Tosas is right. Of course he's not included in the bris of Torah and mitzvahs. But in Vatas Brisi Tishmar he is included if he has a bris Mila. That's why the Gemara didn't say that's the Nafka Mina. And we can also say that anyway the Kasha of the Even Ozer is an Akasha based on what the Prisha says in Yoredeya, Siman Reis Samach Dalet, Tzif Katan Dalet, that a Yisrael Mummer isn't included in Himol Yimol. Look there in the Pischei Tshuva in Yoredeya and Siman Reis Yud Zayin Tzif Katan Tes, who brings from the Sefer Ber Yaakov that if somebody's Noder Me'areilim, he's Aser B'Mummer even though he's Nimol. Because just like he's Aser B'Akum, just like a person who makes a neder, he's not going to get enough from Areilim, he's not allowed to get enough from any goy, even if the goy has a bris milah, because kol hagoyim Areilim, like it says. So too, a mummer. A mummer is not included in himol yimol. His bris milah is not considered a bris milah. And a raya gedola b'zeh we can bring from the sugin zvachim, chav beis on beis. Yecheskel writes, kol ben nechar orel leiv V'arel basar lo yavo el mikdashi l'sharseni. The Gemara makes it tzrichusa that you need both. Arele leiv and arele basar, those of the uncircumcised hearts, those uncircumcised flesh. Arel basar is mos, mashenken arel leiv. Mitzat sheni arel leiv ein libo l'shemayim. Mashenken arel basar, ayin shem in the Gemara. So, we have an inyan meshutaf. We have something common in the fact that they're both arelim, and therefore we have a tzrichusa. Why does the Gemara have to make a tzrichusa between oral leiv and oral basar? Because there's obviously a common denominator, and therefore you have to explain why you need both. And that shows you that somebody who's an oral basar is also an oral leiv. And someone who's an oral leiv is also connected to being an oral basar. So you're right, this oral leiv doesn't have the mius, it doesn't have the disgusting aspect of the oral basar. But the Gemara wants to put the two together and need the tzrichusa to show why you need each one. It shows you that they have a mechaneh meshutaf. So even an oral leiv, even a mummer, has the status of an oral basar. And memela, he's not included in himo yimo. Because by being a mummer, and by the pasuk says, what does the pasuk say? Kol ben nechor. Ben nechor means nisnakru ma'asav la'aviv shebashamayim. His ma'asim minukar are strange or foreign to God. In other words, he took himself out of the covenant. He's not in the covenant anymore. His ma'asim are strange to God. Whether he's an oral leiv or an oral basar, or even an oral leiv. But oral leiv is compared to oral basar. So that means that he's not included in Vatez Brisi Tishmor, and he's not included in Himol Yimo. So it comes out then that the Gemara could not have said a nafkamina. What's the nafkamina between the two psukim, Vatez Brisi Tishmor and Himol Yimo? A mummer. No. A mummer is not in Himol Yimo. A mummer is not in either of them. So therefore the Gemara couldn't bring that as a nafkamina. The Gemara had to come on to Yisha. As we explained. Like the Parisha says, that Yisrael mummer is included in Himol Yimo. And we even brought a raya from the Gemara that compares these people of Arele Leiv to Arele Basar. He's not included in the bris. He's out of the bris. He's out of both. Took himself out of the bris and he took himself out of Mila. So Baruch Hashem b'siyata d'shmaya, we have learned the second part of this shir. Again, proving our point that there are two aspects of the Shem Yisrael and the Shem Ben Bris, as we saw in Tosfos. And hopefully, in the next shir, Kadosh Baruch Hu should give us the kolach and the moach, we will begin to see some more examples la halacha about mumrim, how this works into the halachic system. It's going to be very, very exciting. Siyata d'shmaya. We'll see neflos mitaras Hashem, and then ultimately, hopefully, we'll be miyashev the sheet of the Geonim that says that the sheet of the Geonim al eat tfisis kedushin b'mumr. Emir Hashem. So we should be zoche. Lilmod u'lamed lishmor v'las l'kaimis kol divrei Yisrael v'torah v'yahava. Amen v'amen. Shalom, shalom, sweetest and most beloved friends.